No.
Hi, Kasim.
Hello, Feroz.
Hi, Kasim.
Hey.
Hi Kasam.
Uh,
Hi Feroz. Morning.
Hi, all. Good morning.
so I believe we can start.
Yes, we are good to go.
Okay. I request you all to please go on mute. You will be getting a chance to ask the questions and clear your queries. So, but before that, please, I request all of you to go on mute. Thank you. Okay. So I believe we can start now. Uh, First of all, very warm welcome to all of you for joining this today's session for starting a free webinar session for learning Azure from Dear Azure. Uh, I know it's Saturday, it's an early morning for Saturday at least for all our working professionals. But it's really great to see the excitement of yours to learn and keen of yours to get into this sessions. I welcome and thanks to Mr. Abdul Rasheed Feroz Khan, our speaker for today, for giving their time and joining the session and to present a valuable uh, their views and about cloud computing and Azure to all of us. To start off with, I will just let you know something about Dear Azure, like what it is exactly. So the main reason behind starting up Dear Azure is to learn Azure products and services in very easier manner. Like when we start learning Azure, Azure is a big ocean again. So when we start it, it is like there are many documentations, there are many videos, there are many articles around the web, and the person who is starting up is really confused to where to get started exactly, like a startup for learning path. So our main objective or our main mission for starting up Dear Azure was to provide a cinch or a simplest path for learning Azure, Microsoft Azure. So here what we will doing is we will be conducting sessions which will be absolutely free, and that will be every Saturday and Sunday, the same timing 11:30 to 12:30 and 1 hour session. It will not take more times, and there may be some changes in the this webinar timings that will be updated as on. And let me know, like there are we are very much thankful to all the speakers which are involved. Like I was planning the sessions from last 6 months. I know it is too long time, but I don't want it to just start it as is, and to make like it is not for the namesake, right? It is I wanted like to that Dear Azure should really be helpful to all the users who are keen to learn Azure. So we have Mr. Abdul Rashid Feroz Khan. He's a Microsoft MVP and a founder of CodeSizzler. He is also a sponsor of our this webinar, and I'm very thankful for him. There are many other speakers who will be joining in coming days, and those all most of them are Microsoft MVPs again. Some are authors of the books written on Azure subject. Some people are already working on Azure from Microsoft. So we have all the speakers, all the experts on place in that particular respective areas. So why I wanted to start up with this session, like getting started with cloud computing and Microsoft Azure, is that when I started creating the videos, when I started creating videos on this Azure, I came across with a common question, like we are working with .NET, we are working with PHP, we are working in some other stack. Why we should go for Microsoft Azure? Why we should go for cloud? Now, of course, it has it's a very brief or it's a very long answer. It could be, but I just wanted to bring all the people who are having with the same questions, with the same queries, at first point of time. Like today, we are mostly targeting, like if you have any questions like why we should go for Azure, what is cloud computing, why it is like is it a right time to switch? It is not called a switch from your existing technology stack. Like if you're .NET resources, you will be a .NET resource, but you had to have knowledge of Azure. If you are a PHP resource, you are a Java resource, you should have a knowledge of Azure in this coming scenario or coming market, in the trending market. So there is a common question from all of many of the people to me, and I was just answering them like, okay, you should go for this and blah 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 blah. So I wanted a channel where all should come in and take the opportunity to ask from the expert, that is Mr. Abdul Rasheed Feroz Khan. He is very much into Azure from the earlier days. He is among the first MVPs of who was awarded as for the Azure category. So I will request Mr. Abdul Rasheed Khan to continue and to start up the thing.
Yeah. Hi all. Thanks, Kasum. Thanks for your warm welcoming,
Hi,
and
Rasheed.
that's a really hello. That's a great initiative that you had been taking for long days, and now it's all on the floor to set for future heights. So, Dear Azure, it's like another kid of mine, where we had been working for a long time to bring it to the better clouds. And yes, it's all into the cloud that we ought to speak about Azure. I could see someone who has put yourself on. I mean, you're not on mute, and I could feel the echo. It's getting echo for me. Can you please put yourself on mute, please, everyone? Yeah. Well, now it sounds good. So, a great warm welcoming to all of you. Thank you so much for your presence over here. And I'm just another one hand of Dear Azure, and I also want to promise you that this will not be like always a level entered. I came across that there were a lot many questions that you guys have on Azure, why we should switch on towards Azure, all these things. So this will be like an introductory session for a couple of days today and tomorrow, and we are planning it for future heights like phase one, phase two, like that, to drive into higher level of heights. So we wish to have you guys join to us at all our, all the webinar series that we are going to take it across. And I hope my screen is visible to all of you, right? Kazim, can you acknowledge that? Is my screen
Yes,
visible?
Yes,
yes,
yes.
I hope you can see the slides, right?
right,
Cool.
right, Abdul.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So that's all into cloud computing that we have to start with. So cloud computing is like days have gone that we had been working with on-premise. We were working with mainframe. We were working with on-premise. We were buying huge machines to set up your hardwares, to put up all your devices into one place and put up your network cables, having a generator to make sure that you have always high availability of electricity, data replicated to make sure that your data will be always available to your customers, and you're going to overcome all the fault tolerance and other behaviors that's going to happen at your data centers. Now it's all like you have something cloud computing where you're going to access the data. You're going to access just not about the data, but anything that you're going to speak about. It might be matter towards your machine learning. It might matter towards your storage components, any storage components. It might be your media files. It might be your codes. It might be your repositories, whatever it is. You're just going to keep it on cloud and you're going to access it all way on the cloud. So now the point over accessing the hardware, or now the point over taking the control over the particular hardware, or let's say the electricity, or let's say the device that you're going to buy, the storage device or anything, it's all in the hands of the rock stars who are playing a giant role on cloud. So it might be like, let's say Microsoft. Microsoft is one of Rockstar who had been there for longer days. Maybe you guys would have heard Azure like recently, like some 6 years or 7 years like that. That Microsoft is like a giant who had been working with cloud like early time. And now we are into peak period where we are competing other competitors like AWS. We are competing with GCP, all these guys. So Microsoft is one of such a rock star who is playing on cloud computing. And when it comes to what is cloud computing, it is all like you have remote servers and you're just going to manage the data over there. I don't want to make it as confused, taking it a first step, saying that it is IaaS, it is PaaS, SaaS, something like that. It is cloud. It's that your data is there on remote server. You're just going to access the data from any of the place that you're And when you go for the cloud models, then you come up with the service models and the deployment models. The service models is like your IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. IaaS is your infrastructure service where you're going to build your own infrastructure on the cloud. There are data centers which has been bought by Microsoft, and you're just going to be a guy who is going to rent a data center. Let's say you're going to buy a particular specification of codes, and you're going to build your own environment saying that I need this virtual network of addresses, I need this operating system of image, I need this data center region where I'm going to deploy all my resources. So the complete control over the infrastructure is going to be there at your hand. And speaking about platform as a service, you have a platform which is already available. You're just going to move there. You're going to build your own product. You're going to come up with your own product using that platform. A better example that I can tell you is you just go to the WordPress on Azure, you build your own website, and you make the website to be live. You can see NDTV, right? You have NDTV website which has been built on WordPress. So it's all like you drag and drop the plugins and you keep your site to be really available. And that's the platform that you have it on cloud. You just go to the cloud, you say, I need WordPress on Azure, which is going to run on Windows or which is going to run on Linux. I have this much app service plan and I'm going to pay for what I'm going to use. That's it. And finally comes your software as a service. The software as a service is where it's all like you have softwares, you have Office 365, you have plenty of softwares which comes up with Microsoft, and even they support the open source system as well. When I was speaking about WordPress, it is like open source. So Microsoft is not like days were gone where Microsoft was saying that we are independent, and now Microsoft started saying that we love Linux. We are into love with Linux, where we are going to join our hands with Microsoft. We are to work with the open source systems. We have bought GitHub. We have started integrating the codes. You go with Visual Studio Code, you go with VSTS, you can integrate the codes. Microsoft started supporting Python. Microsoft has started supporting PHP. And when you speak about infrastructure, we have support for Ubuntu. So you can run any sort of things that comes when it into Azure. And the deployment model is like you have public cloud, you have private cloud, hybrid cloud, all these things. The public cloud is where you're going to have it on a public usage, just same like Azure. You're just going to pay for whatever you're going to use. Private cloud is a third party organization where you are going to have it on your own environment. And the hybrid is when you connect both of these things. The better example that I can tell you is let's take up Swiggy. Swiggy works with, let's say Swiggy is going to work with Azure. Okay, I'm not sure whether Swiggy is a client for Azure, but just take a scenario. Swiggy is going to run on Azure. You have menus, you have restaurants, all these things which are going to list it out. Now, when it comes to the payment gateway, you would have seen Visa cards, MasterCards, all these guys, where they are not ready to give the card details. Instead, they would be having their own card details on their own data centers. So if at all, if you're going to access any of these data, you need to go up for the gateway of your, I mean, the VPN gateway of your hybrid cloud, which means like at your on premise, you need to get the details of the card. And then you're going to again connect for Azure where your Swiggy application is running over there. So the hybrid cloud is like you have a public cloud, you also have a private cloud. And the hybrid cloud is like you're going to connect both the public and the private cloud over here. So applications, any sort of e-commerce applications where when it comes for payment gateways like Paytm, PayPal, Visa cards, MasterCards, anything as such, then there we go with the hybrid cloud. I just want you guys to understand about the service models which we have here. And before speaking this, I want you guys to make sense about the on-premise infrastructure. When you speak about the on-premise environment, you're all on a world where you're going to put up your machines. Let's say you buy a machine, you buy a server machine. You're going to install Windows Server on it. You need to buy a license for Windows Server. You need to put it over there. And then you need to install the components that you need at the top of the operating system which is running. I mean the OS server operating system. Now, the point over here is when it comes to the next version or when it comes to the huge capacity of planning, then there goes a question whether you're going to keep your environment to be secure, whether you're going to keep your environment to be available to all your customers or not. Let's say Dear Azure, today they are working with 350 participants. Tomorrow, Dear Azure might work with thousands of people, and day after tomorrow, it might be like 2,000 of people. And there might be a breakdown when it's happening on working days. Now, in these cases, Dear Azure should make sure that the capacity planning will be done. Dear Azure should not waste the money paying it for the entire thousands of bandwidth, or let's say 2,000 of bandwidth as such, when there's going to be only 100 participants who are going to access the data. Now, there comes the point, which is cloud. Cloud makes sure that you're going to pay for whatever the bandwidth that you're going to use. That's it. You're not going to buy the hardware. You're not going to buy for any hardware, or you're not going to pay any upfront cost when it comes up for scale up or scale down, anything like that. Scale up and scale down will happen based on the metrics, what's happening on your application. That's it. You're just going to say that I need autoscaling to be enabled with these many metrics. The metrics might be based on your CPU percentage. The metrics might be based on your IOPS, whatever you're going to illustrate over there. So here comes a point that you have the applications, you have the data, runtime, middleware, OS, all these things. And when you speak about infrastructure, you are going to take care of the application, data, runtime, middleware, and OS. So when you say all these things, OS in the sense, I'm going to say that I'll be using Windows Server. I'll say that my application is a .NET application, or my application is going to be a PHP application which is going to run on Ubuntu. And once when I configure all these things, and when I say this is going to be my VNet, then my application is going to be completely managed by the cloud vendor. The cloud vendor is nothing but Microsoft. When it comes to platform, these entire things like the OS and everything is managed by the vendor. And the platform is where you're going to manage the application like WordPress or the data, those things alone. And software is where everything is managed by the cloud service provider. When I say the cloud service provider, or whenever I say vendor, it always reflects something which is nothing but your Microsoft. So these guys are some top rock stars who are playing around the globe. We have Amazon Web Services, who had been like again a long days. We have Microsoft, we have Google, Rackspace, we have AT&T, all these guys who are playing on the cloud environment. The top two chains who are playing right now is AWS and Microsoft. And of course, Microsoft Azure holds a huge market share. And when it comes to different scenarios, like when you speak about infrastructure or when you speak about platform, then there is going to be a change where AWS comes up as such. But ideally, I could also say that GCP is taking a bloom. And of course, Azure, the reason why we have Azure as more number of customers, that Azure is across the globe. Azure has more number of data centers compared to any cloud service provider. I could even tell you a statement that when you add the data center counts of GCP and when you add the data center counts of AWS, still you don't get it to be reached for Microsoft Azure. That's like a huge that we have. Let's get on to the overview of Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure had been working with a lot many customers across the globe. Specifically, we have iCloud, which is working at Azure. We have BMW corporations who are working with Azure, Alaska Airlines, JetBlue. All these guys are into Azure, where they have their web applications and lot many applications which are running on Azure. Azure is marginally keep on increasing on the job posting as well. Being a consultant, I'm a cloud consultant working with lot many corporates across the globe, and I could see that lot many people or lot many corporates started migrating from the on-premise environment towards the cloud environment. And particularly speaking about the cloud environment, we can say that specifically I get lot many projects. I can even name out the companies like the Cognizant, Wipro, who is playing at a major role, Deloitte, Adobe, and all these guys had been like migrating all their clients from the on-premise towards the cloud, which is on Microsoft Azure. And the reason is the more number of data centers. Second thing is your economical feasibility that you have. Third thing is your GUI environment that you get. And finally, I could also tell you that the hands that you spread towards the open source environment. The cost that you pay over here is, it's same like what the normal cloud terminology comes up with. You're going to pay for whatever you're going to use. And at top of all these things, Microsoft comes up with a lot many cost cutoff solutions. So the cost cutoff solutions are like, let's say, when you speak about AKS, there's no cost for cluster management. Microsoft was the first guy who came up saying that when you're going to spin up some AKS, when you're going to spin up some Kubernetes, something like that, there's nothing going to be cost management. And slowly, this guy Google, who has his own product as Kubernetes, started saying that, yeah, I'm also not going to charge anything for that. And then AWS also did the same. So it's like Microsoft who comes to the first when it comes for any cost cutoff solution and support, integration, all these things. And that's where we have lot many people into Microsoft Azure. And since we have more number of corporates who are into Azure, the job recognition that you have at Azure is like huge. The growth of Azure in cloud market as it goes across the globe is really high. We had been working with a lot many corporates across the globe, and I could see that all these three guys, Azure, GCP, and AWS, are getting huge sort of business when they get into the corporate environment. Corporates like Paytm, sorry, not Paytm, it's Visa or Mastercards. These guys are there still who are ready to invest their money on their own data centers. Whereas other corporates like, let's speak about Hexaware, we can speak about Wipro, all these people started migrating even their own applications towards cloud, even Infosys. So all these own product softwares have been started to migrate towards the Azure environment. So now Microsoft Azure is all about they have huge number of data centers. You're going to access the data which is going to be there on the data centers, and you will see all these things which is going to be highly secure, which is going to be highly available, and you can go up for scaling, you can come down with scaling, all these things at any time. And of course, Azure is like an ocean. Azure has lot many things. When you speak about infrastructure, we have lot many things. It's not just about cloud. It's not just about storing the data or anything like that. Azure has also started opening their wings across things like machine learning, cognitive service, right? You have AI integrated things. You have IoT integrated things. You have lot many stuffs which has been integrated into Azure. So the services that we have on Azure is like huge. So it's all like if you are going to work with a portal or you're going to work with a PowerShell. That's it. It's like easy way that you get into approach on Microsoft Azure. It's not like you go there, you give the commands or anything like that. Even the command environments, that is your PowerShell, is said to be much easy compared to any environment, any other cloud service providers who give their own command line environments. I don't want you guys to waste your, I mean, like, go with this theoretical things, keep on speaking about the slides. I want you guys to make sense with the steps that you have on the real Azure portal. So I will just go with the Azure portal. So this is your Azure portal. You can just go up, you go with the portal.azure.com. Okay. I will make a note of it if you need. So the URL which you can use to access your Azure portal is portal.azure.com. So previously we had something called as old portal, and now we have a resource manager portal. The old portal is where we did not add anything called as resource groups. You cannot group the resources. And here you have something as resource group where you can take complete control. Okay, you can give the identity, I mean access management, all these things. And you can give the access control. So all these things have been added up over here. And you have lot many services also integrated over here. So let's get signed in. And you can also access your Azure free trial subscription just by going here. You go to the azure.microsoft.com, click on start free, and you can activate it. It's like 1 month free trial, which you get it. So you can go here and you can activate it. Okay, I'll keep sharing these notes to you guys. Don't worry. Let's log in. Yes, here we go. So you have this. This is your portal. This is your Azure portal. How it looks like, right? I can tell you that it's like much simple. I can even show you AWS. See, you go to the AWS and you see the portal how it looks like. So you need to go here. You have to go for AWS Management Console. You need to sign in here. So it's like you have something as complicated when you compare it towards Azure, the UI that you have, right? Let me show you. And being a cloud consultant, I used to work with all the stuffs that you have here. I mean, on the cloud. So yes, this is your portal that you have for AWS, and yes, it's get logged in. So here you should go. You should find your data center region here. You should find the services here. It's not like a good UI you have when you compare it towards Azure. So Azure is like really a huge thing that you have. You have a dashboard. They have all resources. You click on this all resource. You can find the entire resource whatever you have created. And you can even go for all services. You can see whatever the service that is supported by Azure. You have virtual machines. So here we call this simply as virtual machines. Whereas when you go for AWS, you need to call it as EC2. Can you find this? Virtual servers in the cloud. That makes you confused. Elastic Compute Cloud. What's that? Whereas here you go, you just call it as virtual machines. Virtual machine skill set where you're going to group it together. This is an older virtual machine and container services like your Kubernetes, Dockers, all these things. So these things normally comes under IaaS, and app service is where you comes under PaaS. So all these things have been available. You can find networking. It has been grouped together. See, compute. These are all compute stuffs. Networking. You have all these networking stuffs. Storage. All these things. So what I wish to do is for today, I just want to give you an introduction. I just want to give a heads up about this cloud computing. So the cloud computing is like you have all these stuff. Okay. You come here, you say that which data center you're going to use and you're going to make use of it. That's it. So that's your portal where you come here and you're going to access it. As of now, for today, what you need to do is like if you're going to join for longer days, you come here for azure.microsoft.com, click on start free and activate your free trial account. So you just go here, you activate your free trial. Once when you activate your free trial account, you'll be landed up over here and here you can create resource. And as an introduction, I'll just help you guys to make sense with the web app. You can go to create a resource and then you can work here. See, you have web and you go here, you can put a web app here. Web app is nothing but your web application, your website. So you can even say that I need a web app which has to run on WordPress. I'll say WordPress. See, you get WordPress on Linux. Let's just give WordPress. That's where you get the support from open source. So now let's go here. I'll go for a web app here. Okay, let's go for web and web app. So let's name a web app here. I'll name the web app as Dear Azure. And I'm going to use the subscription Azure Pass. Let's create a resource group, Dear Azure resource group. And OS, I'm going to use Windows. App service plan is where you're going to say what sort of plan you're going to use. This app service plan can also be used for multi-purpose things. Okay, let's say I'm going to create another web app. I can even use the same app service plan. So when I go here, I'm going to create a new app service plan. Let's name it as Dear Azure Apps. And I'll deploy this at, let's say, South India. So I'll go for South India. Yes, to your reference, in India we have three data centers, one at Mumbai, another one at Pune, and another one at Chennai. So you have three data centers here. So this app service plan gets splitted depends on the workloads that you have. So the smaller one is you go here, you can find the basic one that you have here. Mm, yes, can you find this B1? So this is a basic one. So it says custom domains or SSL. SSL, I hope you guys know that the certificate that you provide, your custom domains is you give it towards like you now you create a website named as Dear Azure. So for example, let's say CodeSizzler.in. This is the domain, but I can also make it like see this is the site which we have gets loaded, right? This is the site that we have, and it can also get landed up with the custom domains. So this is the master site, codesizzler.azurewebsites.net. So when I do domain mapping, it is codesizzler.in. I hope you can make sense. The next is the CPU of the instance which gets run here, the compute resource that gets run here, and the memory, how much you're going to use it. Manual scaling, it can scale up to the availability. Storage, you can store up to 10 GB of files. So I'll just select basic and I'll click on apply. So it's going to be a basic app service plan. I'll click on OK. Application Insight is where you're going to collect all the logs and you can give the data center region where it has to be saved. Let's click it off and I'll click on create and the web app gets created here. So you can find the notification panel here. See, you have the notification and you also get a update here. See, you have Azure Pass with $24.29 credit, which is remaining. Well, so that goes, which has been deployed. So I'll just go here and I'll say pin to the dashboard. So once when I say pin to dashboard, you can find it here. And still I can also make it like I just go here, right? Resource groups, and I can find Dear Azure, which I have created. And here you can find Dear Azure and the app service plan. So now let's go for Dear Azure. And when I click on this, you can find the link. So I have the link here. Let's just copy it or click on it. There we go. That's a template which is available for your Azure web app. Let's now try something where I'm going to deploy my web app. Okay, some code towards my web app, something like that. So I can just use kudu. I will go here. You have something as kudu console. I'll go here for SEM. It is very simple that I'm giving you an intro about it. Okay. Maybe by tomorrow I will show you how you can work with the FileZilla and all these things also for the web app. So let's go here and I will say I need to go for the debug console. I'll go for PowerShell. And let's go for site and I'll go for root. It's same like if you had been working with GoDaddy, you should have seen things like your cPanel, all these things, right? It's same over here. So I will come here and I will say that I need to create a new file. Let's say over here, I'll say I need to create a new file named as index.html. And here I will edit it. I'll just go here and I'll say HTML. Welcome to Azure Session from Dear Azure. Okay, I'll just give this and I'll click on save. Now let's try going for the website dearazure.azure.websites.net. See, we get the web app which has been deployed with the content what you have. The same you can even write it on your own and you can deploy it. So it's all like much simple that you come across here and you put up your web app and you make things to be much interesting over here. You can go with WordPress, you can drag and drop the plugins, you can have the panels all way over there. You can still go ahead and you can see that you have this data center region where it has been deployed. You get the subscription ID, all these things. You can scroll down, you can find deployment slots, all these things. I don't want you guys to merge up by the day one itself. Just make sense about all these things as of now. Okay, about deploying a web app and how you can work with this Kudu service. So let's make it like by tomorrow, we will still work further in detail about having things on the web app, going with deployment slots, all these things. Okay. So that's about your just like a dot on your Microsoft Azure, and it's like really huge when you speak about Azure. You have plenty more things that you can go up with. Well, I just wish to conclude with this for today, and let's go up with any of your questions or anything if you have, and then we can end up for today. Any
Uh,
questions?
this is Tanvir here.
Hi, Tanvir.
Hi. If I have a trial subscription and if it expire after 1 month, if I still want to use it with a different ID, can I use the same credit card?
Yes, you can use the same credit card, but you cannot use it on the same account. Your Outlook account should be different.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, fine. Any other questions? I would suggest you guys to make it on voice, please, rather than messages, because it will be a recorded one. And when you come across further, you can make sense about the questions as well. So make it as a voice one, please.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Bharat here. Yeah, hi. If you want to convey it to the customer, the differences between Azure and any other cloud providers. So, what are the
Mhm.
high-level facts we need to discuss to the customer? One thing
Uh,
about cost.
hmm. So the
Yeah.
major fact that you need to speak over here is, of course, the cost, and at top of the cost, you do have something as data center regions. So Azure is
Okay.
like you have more number of data center regions, and the other services like the open source services which has been integrated into Azure. Commonly speaking about high availability, like you have this update domains, fault domains, all these things where Microsoft does not charge for those things. Whereas when you speak about other cloud service provider, you need to pay for them when you're going to use those things. So that's another factor that you can speak across. And Microsoft is another one. I mean, like you have a huge valid point where you can discuss about the services which Microsoft comes up with. It might be subjected towards your artificial intelligence. It might be subjected towards your database or even data analytics part, anything like that. The services and the updates that you get on Azure is like huge. You come to Azure portal today and tomorrow you come to the Azure portal, you can find lot many updates which is there. So Azure is keep on working rapidly on improving the services towards the customers. You have services like Cosmos DB, which was previously it was like a kit where we were saying it's a NoSQL database. It was called as Document DB, and now Cosmos DB is like a huge market share which is playing compared to the DynamoDB and all these things. So Azure is like first you need to make sense about what all the services that Azure supports, how Azure supports on IoT compared to AWS, all these things. So when you take up any particular service, it's like you have huge sort of support, okay, related to the service compared towards any other cloud service provider. It might be even Alibaba or something like that. You would have even seen that folks have started working at Alibaba Cloud recently. Like it's getting into India. It's getting into India where people who gone out of Microsoft started working with Alibaba, where they are trying to improve it just for the sake of business. But actually speaking, the market share is not like that. It's for, I can ideally tell you very frankly, it's Azure, AWS, and GCP that's getting a good growth. That's it. So when you go for a comparison, you have to compare all these three things towards your customers based on cost, based on the data center region, based on the services that has been integrated towards the cloud service platform.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Abdul. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thanks, Abdul. I keep, please keep the sessions continued, and we will look forward for this kind of sessions. It's quite interesting and inspiring.
Sure, Rakesh. So
Yeah,
I'll be sharing a document as well. Probably I and Kazim will be throwing it to you people. So you can get it like whatever we discussed for today, all these things, you can get a pointers over that. Okay. And
sure.
join us on the further sessions as well. I would like to see we will be getting more hands-on with Dear Azure, and let's go for better heights on Dear Azure.
Appreciate your time and patience. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Feroz. Guys, like one last thing before ending up the session, like there were many messages coming in, that is in like the screen was being slow or the presentation was too fast. So I would just like to give a point like. Today the session was a very much high level introductory one, like where we wanted to give you an essence of what is cloud computing and Azure, which I believe Brother Feroz has done an amazing thing. So I believe many of us would have gotten a high level overview or getting an what we say high level track of what is Microsoft Azure actually is. Going forward, like tomorrow, as said, the tomorrow sessions will be more focused to one subject areas like about the web apps. The futures of sessions will be more focused on only on creating virtual machines, how to create that cloud virtual machines with Azure in Windows environment, in Linux environment. What is Azure storage, how the storage is being classified, or how the storage capabilities are being leveraged to your current or applications from Azure. There would be sessions with Azure SQL, like many of us are using a SQL server, but there is the SQL is also with Azure, and what are the difference, what are the main features, or what are the main the what we say the major capabilities of Azure SQL over the on-premises SQL. So all these sessions are coming in. Please be tuned to this Saturday, this coming weekends. I purposely kept this timing as 11:30 to 12:30, so that all of us would get a sense of this session, and then you are free for your weekend. We also want to be free for our weekend, but it's come on, it's an learning part. We have to invest some of the time to get into these things, and I really thanks again to Mr. Brother Feroz for giving us this time and sharing this valuable session with us. So hope everyone is done with their questions, or is there any more questions coming in? We have 5 minutes.
Yeah, Kasam. Can you able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, fine. Kasam, right now I'm staying in my Muscat. I'm not in India.
Okay, great. So you are joining from Muscat.
Yes, no, I was in Muscat right now
I
because
was in
tomorrow is
Muscat. Okay.
tomorrow is an holiday. Sorry, tomorrow is working day because holidays in Saturday. It's Friday and Saturday is an holiday.
Right.
So
Right.
tomorrow's session I can't be able to do that. So is it possible to send that recorded video?
See, every session is getting recorded. Even this session is getting recorded. If you,
Okay.
I believe you can see the screen right now. That introduction session. This is a slide which is being opened. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
So if you see, there is a subscribe YouTube channel. That I have provided one short link. That is bit.ly/az-YouTube. It is case sensitive, so use in the same manner. You will land up to
See,
an YouTube channel.
just to copy and send it to that in message part. Then
I will do
we
that.
can be.
I will do that. Yes, sure. I will
Yeah.
do that. I'm just I'm just telling you because it get recorded. So you can just go to this YouTube channel and subscribe it. There will be a playlist named as Dear Azure where you will get all the sessions right from day one. That is today.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I would prefer that. That's fine, absolutely fine. You don't have holiday on Sundays, but I
Yeah.
would request all the users to please try their best to get join in the session, because the more questions come in, the more like the answers will be there, and it will all be recorded, and it will help others also who are not able to join. And in future, if they see these videos, their queries will be get resolved. And yours also, like you will see the video, you will type in comment any questions and it will be answered. It is not always possible to reply the questions coming into this YouTube channels or Twitter, but still we try our best to reply always. So it is always best to join the session. It is only of 1 hour, but in this case, like wherein you have your office work and some emergency work, that is absolutely fine.
Kasim, Mukesh here.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kasim, Mukesh here.
Yes, Lokesh, can you be little louder? Like your voice is.
Yeah, I'm working as a ASP.NET MVC developer. So Azure, how Azure helped me to grow my career? Like how it's helped me because I'm working as a ASP.NET MVC developer.
Okay. Brother Feroz?
Yeah, thanks
Yep.
for giving me the chance, Kasim. Hi, Mukesh. So, I hope you are working with the MVC and see, whatever the MVC that you had been working, it might be at on-premise where it's not going to be for long days that you're going to take it across. The MVC has now had been changed that you move towards like on the cloud as such. So when you speak about the web app which we had been working with now, can you share my screen, Kasim?
Give me a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
I will make you as presenter.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So here you can find Mukesh. See, I have opened a page where you can just come here. See, on your Visual Studio, you can build your ASP.NET MVC application and you can publish it towards cloud. Which is nothing but the way you're not going to change anything as such. You're just going to build the same ASP.NET MVC application. But instead of running it at on-premise, days are like no longer that you're going to run it at on-premise. You will be moving it towards your cloud environment. So as part of your environment, you need to make sense about how you can host your MVC applications, how you can run your MVC applications on the cloud. And you need to check what all the services, like whatever the support that you get at on-premise, is it going to be the same that you have it on the cloud as such. So that's what you can do it as a MVC developer. I hope you can find it on the screen, right? Can you find this? Azure
Yeah,
SDK for .NET, and you come here, you can build the MVC application. Okay, and you can publish it towards your web app. Is that okay?
thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. I just want to share this link alone to you. I will put it on the chat panel. You can just grab it over there. Okay.
Yeah.
If you visit the YouTube channel which I have shared, there is a video showing how to deploy this MVC application or the MVC application with .NET Core to Azure Web App step by step. Even there is an Angular app, so you can go through that video also and this link as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Kasim. I will go through.
Anyone else?
Hi,
Yeah,
this is
Kasim.
Umar. Hi, this is Umar. Can you hear me?
Yes, Uma.
Okay. So I have one question. I wanted to know, is there a way to get a 12-month free trial? Because I have heard in past where uh, uh, people used to get a 12-month free trial with $150 every month credited. So is there a way to get those account instead of creating a 1 month free trial with $200 of credit?
Kasim, are you there?
Please continue, Feroz. I think you will be
Okay.
the best to answer this.
Thanks for that. So, yes, we do have an option which was, previously introduced at Microsoft Ignite program, which is like a 12 months, for 12 months you can get it as free trial as such. But I could say that it's not actively given for all people at the public way. It has been given like for events which is hosted by Microsoft directly. Rather than that, Microsoft just supports you with 1 year subscription. 1 month subscription. That's it. They don't give you like a huge class or anything as such. If you are going to attend any Microsoft events, then chances are there that you can get Azure passes over there, where they give for 12 months. That was introduced at previous Microsoft Ignite program. But I don't see any website or where Microsoft gives you a possibility that you can grab it as such.
Okay, thank you, Feroz.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, hi, Kasim.
Hello.
Hi, Feroz. Hi, this is. I have a question. Hello.
Sorry, one
Please.
by one, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you that I'm working as a business analyst for
Mhm.
a requirement gathering and all. Just I would like to explore my knowledge in Microsoft Azure or Azure platform. Just wanted to know that what should I learn to grow as a technical BA, where to assess the requirement from the cloud side, or if it is a monolithic migration from the legacy to app modernization and all. So just wanted to know that from the business analyst side, how should I and what should I to be taken care, and what should I especially to learn to grow in this segment.
Okay. So, being a business analyst, I hope you should have been working with databases, collecting huge sort of data sets and exploring more sort of information about like predictable performance, all these things. So, particularly on Azure, we have something as data lake store, and we have HD insights, all these things where you can make big data analytics, right? And you can come up with an output where you can get it visualized towards Power BI and all these things. So the components that we have in Azure is you need to make sense about the data lake store. You need to make sense about the analytical processing, your online analytical processing resources, which we have it on cloud. And speaking about migration, like you're saying about the monolithic migration that you have it anywhere, it's going to be like you need to check what all the data analytics steps that you're going to come across over here. Like, are you going to use a Spark cluster or Big or Hive? Are you going to get the same sort of notebook support over here? You need to check those things. And your cup of plate over here on Azure will be completely on, like a data modeling and on data analytics part. I can list out the results like Power BI, HD Insights, right? Spark, Hive, all these things. That's where you can explore more on Azure.
Okay, this Spark and Hive is like big data analytics. Can we use
Yes.
it in Azure? Like it is integration? Integration is there?
Yeah, of course. Of course you have. I hope you can find my screen, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, give me one sec. So can you see my screen? HD Insights Spark
Yeah.
monitoring, and you have the
Yes,
Spark
yes.
job server, all these things, right? So you have Hortonworks, you have all these services which has been integrated. You can even just go for HD Insights, and from there you can put up your Spark cluster or anything. You can find it here, I guess. Can you? Is the screen visible for you? Hadoop, Hive, HBase, Storm,
Yes.
Spark, Kafka. Okay, so you get the support for all these things over here.
Okay, okay, okay. I mean, my role of doing here is more of a data analytics, you would say?
Yes, yes, yes.
That is the one part. Just wanted to, since we are working for Microsoft, like now we're working for Microsoft as a BA, Azure BA mainly, where the BSI, Business Information System Gathering, the workload migration, and then a lot of projects were going on. So what role is we do here is like get the business requirement and is submitted to a technical department where they assess like whether it is cloud suitable or not, like whether it is on-prem suitable or not, like so those all things. So in terms of migration, this is fine, but I just wanted to explore more in a legacy to monolithic, where in the banking or a big finance or insurance legacy application break into a different microservices and then completely modernization of app modernization. I just wanted to have a more insights on that front as a BA. So
Okay.
will that feasible for me to learn everything Azure, or it's only a business front I should learn something like that? I just wanted to have.
If I'm not wrong, your work role is something like you're going to migrate your monolithic application into microservices, something like that.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, in that case, you need to make sense about the service fabric. We have something called a service fabric. Have you heard about it?
Yeah, I heard about it. Service
So
fabric like Microsoft.
this, yes, this makes you to, you can get your application and you can make it to be available on the distributed environment where that takes care of your scalability, reliability, all these things. So this is one sort of like application which can help you to go with migrating the workloads as such, right? The workloads, and you want to make it into microservice components, you can go with the service fabric cluster over here. If it is like business intelligence that you need to come up, like you want to get a predictive analysis or something like that, then the platform will be completely different, where it's not going to be service fabric. You need to make sense with HD Insight and all these things over there.
Okay, okay, that's great. Thank
Yeah,
you, Feroz.
cool. Any
Hey
other
guys,
questions?
this is Simran here.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah. So my question is, I'm actually based in UAE, and like I remember one of the guy has told that, like, we are actually based in Muscat, and there is a time difference. So what is the timing for tomorrow, like for Sunday session?
I guess Kazim would be a right person to answer this. Kazim?
Yeah, thanks, Feroz. Yeah, it is the same time, 11:30 IST, 11:30 a.m. IST. It will be same time across all the webinars. It just depends upon the if at all any speaker is not available, because there are speakers from abroad too. So as per their timings, we will be updating the session timings. But as of now, tomorrow's session will be on the same time, 11:30 a.m. IST.
Okay. And another question would be, right? Uh, since we have just started with this session today, are we going to cover like BCDR scenarios and migration stuff, in the future upcoming sessions, or that's not in the in the module?
Yeah, we do have that. We will be working on migrating the workloads and all these things, but we are planning to go from the level 100 to the higher ends because we get lot many questions and we have lot many followers who are looking for to go from the introduction part. So the very first thing that we are sketching out over here is to explore all the services that we have in Azure. And as it goes, we are planning to go for architecture, and then we are planning to go with migration projects, all these things.
And just a small feedback regarding this session, like if in case in the beginning of the session, if you can share the agenda for today, like for example, if we are conducting any session today, then if you can just share the agenda, like these are the topics which we are going to cover. This makes us be ready for what are the things we are going to cover today.
Of course, we will do that. Actually, this was like to be a kickstart session for today, where we want to give a heads up about the cloud computing and Microsoft Azure. Hopefully, you should be getting a mail about. We will work on that. Where you will be getting a mail where we will be saying about the key pointers around whatever it will be discussed for tomorrow's session as such.
All right, then thank you so much for the time and a great session.
Hello.
Samir.
Hello, Feroz. Hello.
Hello.
Feroz.
Hello.
Yes.
This is Khaja here.
Yeah, so do we have same session ID for tomorrow, or it will be the difference?
I will share the link.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Keep following us. Keep following us on the LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. We will be sharing you the joining link and all these things, so you can get it from there. It will be different, of course. It will not be the same. Yeah. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead with your questions, please.
Hello. This is Khaja here.
Hi, Haja.
Yeah. Regarding a small question I have put up on the chat also. After the trial period, what could be the best option or a cheap option to continue using Azure?
Cheap option, you give your credit card and you say pay as you go. That's one
Exactly.
option that you have.
Because we are still trying to use it. So in this scenario, instead of incurring a huge cost, what could be the best option?
This is one thing, Haja, that you get it on free trial. Other than that, I don't see Microsoft supporting you. If you're an MVP or anything like that, Microsoft gives you free, subscription at free of cost. But
No,
for
I
a
mean like after the trial period. I'm sorry to interrupt. After the trial period, what option should we take, which should be cheap for us to continue using it?
you just it's cheap in the sense, are you ready to pay for it?
Yes. I mean the smallest value. I mean.
Okay. So in that sense, you can go with pay as you go. You just say pay as you go, and you set
Mhm.
a subscription limit as well, saying that it might be $50 or something like that for a month. So
Right.
you can set it on your subscription part, and you can just pay up to that. Whatever the service that you're going to use, you can pay up to $50, and then it will stop using it.
Fine. Any service restrictions are there in that one? No,
No,
there's no
no, no,
restriction.
nothing like that. No.
Fine. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think we should end up today's session.
Yes.
And if you guys have some more questions coming in, we will be joining tomorrow at the same time, 11:30 a.m. IST. I'll be sharing the link. Um of course, it will be a much a deep dive with a focused topic. Today it was an introductory, it was a kickstart for all of us. We just wanted to give us essence of what exactly the cloud computing is, and I believe it is more likely the questions which are coming in. I really appreciate all the attendees that it is covering most of the queries for other participants also. So let's end up and meet tomorrow at the same time with some different link, of course. Thank Feroz for giving your time, and thanks for all the attendees who have given your Saturday's morning for us for this session. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Kazam. Thank you so
Thanks
much,
for
and thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Thanks.